Welcome everyone. My name is Stephen Murta, and today we're going to talk about the 7 steps to exhibition success. With the 34 days to CONFEX, it's obviously a critical time for us all to do some key things to ensure that we're successful in exhibiting. And as for myself, I spent the last 30 years in the exhibition industry understanding what it takes to be successful at exhibitions. And today's session for CONFEX, the PA show and the publishing show, we're going to focus on those 7 key things that we need to do to be successful when we exhibit at trade shows. Because we really want you to be successful at CONFEX because it's a great show. And as our industry comes back, it's really important that we put our best foot forward and really show how successful we can be, both in terms of companies and in terms of exhibiting. So what we're going to look at today is we're going to look at those 7 steps. We're going to look at them individually, each individual step. And I say there's 3 steps, what we do beforehand, 3 steps for during, and 1 step after. So as we look at it, the exhibition coming up in 35 days, the first thing I'd say to you is step 1. We talk about this idea of planning when we exhibit. And a lot of companies will make a very, very grand plan, or some companies won't plan at all. Now, unfortunately, what really comes down to is having something short and sweet when it comes to planning. And when we talk about this, we talk about this idea of the expression fail to plan, plan to fail. But when it comes to exhibitions, it's critically important that we don't approach exhibiting like with a headless chicken approach. And the reason we don't do that is because it doesn't work. And that's really critical, that we understand that before we exhibit, that we know exactly why we're there and we know exactly why we're going there. And we do that through planning. And when we talk about the plan itself, I'm not talking about a big, long plan that you need to develop 10 pages, 15 pages. In fact, the shorter, the better. An exhibition plan should literally be a 1 to 2 page written plan on what you want to achieve when you're there. And as we look at that and we talk about this plan and what should be in the plan, because then every business will have different ideas about what they want to achieve and different ways of achieving things through the exhibition. But as we come closer to CONFEX, it's understanding what we need to plan for. So we break the written plan down into 3 distinct areas. And it's very important to focus on these 3 areas because they will ensure that you are successful when you exhibit. So the first part of the plan we look at is making that plan work with the breakdown. So the first part of the plan we look at is the sales part of the plan. What exactly are we trying to achieve in sales terms, or in revenue terms, or in appointment terms, and in terms of future sales from exhibiting at CONFEX? Again, it's been a long time since we've exhibited at shows. And again, we're looking for new ways of obviously getting in front of more customers, but we need to have a focus on how we're doing that and what we're doing. So the first part of the plan, of the 1 to 2 page written plan for CONFEX, should include some of those areas. The second part of the plan we talk about is marketing. So how are we marketing ourselves before we exhibit to ensure that the right visitors not only come to CONFEX, but more importantly, come to our stand at the show? And we're going to look at the marketing piece in a moment. The third part of the plan is the more operational side. The operational things, which we're going to look at a list of operational items, the who's doing what, the who's building what, the who's bringing what. And that's really, really important because we don't want to be there during build up to the show and there's confusion because people don't know who's doing what. So it's really important that we have an operational plan. So when we look at the sales plan, first of all, we look at these key areas. The key areas, the sales numbers that we need to achieve, or the sales calls, appointments, whatever way you want to describe them, that we want to achieve on the 1st and 2nd of September. So we talk about, if we have a team of people working on the stand, what are their individual targets? If we're demonstrating a product, how many demonstrations are we doing a day? What's our target for the show? And those number of demos will be critically important so that people can understand what their roles and responsibilities are. And it's really important that we get the team to buy into what they need to do. It's a very much a team effort. So within our sales plan, we look at the things that are on the screen here. We talk about rep targets. We talk about our selling prices. Maybe we have a different price for the event itself than we would do normally. Maybe it's a discounted price for whatever reason that might be. But we need to understand, what are those numbers? What are the metrics in terms of what we're trying to achieve? And when we do that, we really focus in on how we're actually going to achieve that. The second part of a written plan, we focus on marketing. We focus on this piece where exhibition organizers will bring people through the front door of the show, but it's our responsibility as exhibitors to bring them to our stand. So we talk about how we market ourselves. What way are we marketing ourselves before we exhibit? And we're going to look at an individual section in the 7 steps on how we actually market ourselves using what we call the 70-30 principle. And it's very important because in this world we live in this digital world, of course, everything is online and has been online because of COVID. But what I would also say to you is let's not forget those other channels, which we're going to look at in more detail, for getting more customers, more visitors to our stand at CONFEX. And it's really critical that we do this because there's so many social media platforms and channels out there that it's critical we pick the right ones. We don't necessarily pick the ones that we like. We pick the ones where our customers live. And that's really important. So we set down in our written plan, how are we going to attract people through our marketing? And it's very, very important. It's one of the biggest reasons that companies fail at exhibiting is lack of pre-show marketing or bad pre-show marketing. So we're going to look at that in more detail. The third area we talk about is operations. This is a slightly more boring end. The things who's bringing what, who's building what are the roles and responsibilities of each individual person within the team. But whilst it might be boring to some, it's actually incredibly important because what we want to do is we want to aim, as an example, we want to aim to have our stand finished 3 hours before the show opens. So we can be focused on, relax, sit down, have that coffee, whatever it might be, before the show opens. We don't want to be panicking when the show opens that things aren't finished. And that's really, really important. So we talk about the operational plan. We talk about staffing, stand design, all those things that are ancillary to our people. And it's really, really critical that we do this because once we put that down on paper, we're committed to making it happen. And that's the start of a very, very successful exhibitor at any show in any part of the world, is setting down and writing that plan. And like I say, it's not about a big, long plan. It's a 1 to 2 page written plan covering sales, marketing, and operations. What you're essentially doing is ensuring that your stand, your people are ready for success. And that's a really, really critical piece. So in terms of step one, write that plan, brainstorm what you need to go into that plan and write that plan by the 6th of August. If you can do that, you're giving yourself really, really good time to focus on how you're going to achieve that in the weeks ahead. And that's really, really critical. So in finality, what I would say to you, step one is that you need to write your written plan, 1 to 2 page written plan for exhibiting at CONFEX.